Good evening and welcome to Straight Talk. I'm your host, Eugene Chan. Our guest tonight is Mr.宋海西, who is the founder and CEO of the Plaza Premium Group, which is the world's largest independent airport lounge operator. He has been with the travel industry for 23 years, and as global travel is opening up again, he is here tonight to tell us how safe international air travel is. Welcome, Mr. Song.
Thank you, Eugene, having me.
Right, Mr. Song, I know that you have a kind of international business, and people in Hong Kong are very interested to have an update of what's happening to the rest of the world, especially in your situation where you have more than 250 airport lounges in 70 airports, over 30 countries, over the 5 continents. You will have the best bird's eye view on the situation. Maybe you can tell the viewers what's happening to the rest of the world right now.
Yeah, Eugene. Actually, the COVID-19 crisis we had disaster for the aviation industry. In 2020, we lost about 5.6 million passengers, equal to about 62% of the air travelers. It is a very huge impact to the industry.
Million or billion?
Billions.
Right.
You are talking about 5.9 billion travelers.
Right.
It's a huge impact to the aviation industry.
Right. As you know, Hong Kong has been closing our borders. What's happening to the US, Canada, Europe, UK, and Australia right now? Are they all opening up freely?
In 2020, you look at the statistics, the biggest hit is in Europe, which they lost about 70% of the passengers, followed with North America, and the Middle East, and Africa. We are quite lucky in Asia Pacific. We only lost about 55% of the passengers,
right,
compared with the rest of the country.
Right. So it's quite substantial, isn't it?
It is quite substantial, but we are lucky because obviously we have the mainland China where the domestic passengers sort of resume very fast after the COVID. So that's the reason our impact is less severe compared with the rest of the country.
Right. You know, in other countries where your lounges are, you'll be able to tell, are the people flying again? I mean, how much has the old traffic has resumed?
The trouble is that because of COVID-19, people are very careful and cautious when they travel. Again, there are 2 elements in the traveling. There's hygiene and safety.
Right.
So people are very cautious. And plus also because of this COVID-19 for the last 20 months, the way people work is changing.
Right.
And people use Zoom to do a lot of meetings. That's why traveling, business travel reduced tremendously.
So are all your lounges back to in operation in those countries that have more travel, open to travel?
We open roughly about 65% of our operations.
Right.
And obviously the traffic is still very, very slow, and we only can recover in average about 40% of our traffic. Still suffering, that 40% is not good enough for us to cover our costs.
Right. So Mr. Song, so what you are saying to us is, although the rest of the world have more sort of free travel, the business or the air travel quantity isn't really up to where it was. So what's happening to the Hong Kong International Airport? Because many viewers will be like me, who haven't been to the airport for a long time. What's happening there? I mean, are the shops still open or they're closed? Maybe you can tell us an update.
In the beginning of COVID in 2020, Hong Kong International Airport lost about over 95% of traffic. But in the last 18 months, have recovering slowly. And I think they are recovering about 10 or 15% of traffic. So obviously, a lot of the outlets or concessions, in the airport still do not open, and that's not enough traffic for them to maintain the economy. It's not enough to maintain for them to open up.
But how many flights are coming in and out per day? Do you have the figures by any chance?
I think the flights, I will tell you the passengers rather than the flights, because I think they are
more important with numbers of people.
I think they handled less than 5,000, but always gradually increased less than 10,000. My last statistics, they're talking about average about 7,000 to 8,000 a day.
That's right now. But how about compared to our peak travel? How many did we have?
The peak travel, if at this COVID situation, if there if the restrictions have not opened up, okay, then I think the traffic will not grow so much. I think they are predicted to increase another 20-30%, okay, from the pre-COVID situations.
Right.
Okay.
If we go to the airport right now, do you think we will still recognize the airport? I mean, has there any structure changes, any new facilities have put in?
I think if you go back to the airport, especially you have not been to the airport for the last 20 months, you will see the huge changes in the airport.
Really?
Obviously, Hong Kong International Airport adopts what called BAO's safety programs, where you do a lot of the touchless point for travel because of safety reason. And also recently, I'm sure you heard in the news that Hong Kong International divided green zone and orange zone.
Okay.
The green zone is for to people who travel to China, in and out of China, and orange zone is international. So in fact, I think this is a good sign of a new initiative that the government's doing to prepare. It's a preparatory work to open China. I think it's a good news for Hong Kong people.
Yeah, we just read in the news that I think maybe, hopefully, if everything stays the same, in early December there will be an opening up of people be able to, from Hong Kong going to the mainland, maybe without the quarantine, but you must have the vaccines. As you said, it's good news. How many do you think that will be a right direction for Hong Kong?
I think if people go to China, so initially, I think they will have certain restrictions, certain quota. I think especially particularly for visiting relative and also business travelers. I think it will slowly open up. It will not a trajectory to open up, open the door for Hong Kong. But I think it's a good move. And in order to move, to prepare yourself, okay, to take advantage of this opening, I think one must take your initiative to do 2 vaccinations. And if you have a booster, you must do that. It's very, very important.
Mr. Song, I'm going to ask you a very personal view question. Hong Kong has worked along with the mainland. Basically, we want a zero COVID policy. As compared to many cities in the world, many countries in the world, they adopt a living with COVID policy. And I'm sure both approaches have their merits. But what is your personal view? Is this a good thing for Hong Kong?
I think the government did the right things because the trouble with Hong Kong is that our vaccination rate is not high enough. If we can reach about 90%, I'm sure the government will open up so that we can live together, okay, with the COVID. But our vaccination rate is not high. And plus also China is a cosmopolitan city in which Hong Kong. It's very important to control the traffic because when it's spread, it's very difficult to contain. So I personally feel that government did the right thing. We had to do it slowly. And plus also we have to make sure that people understand the impact of COVID if you do not properly vaccinated and do not practice what we call social distancing.
Yes. Mr. Song, the title of our program tonight is it safe to travel internationally? Being a person right on the front line, what is the new normal now? And what do you recommend? I mean, I'm sure a lot of people will say, all right, it's time to travel. We've been home for the last 2 years. Apart from vaccinations, what else should they do? Do they need to do a pre-test, a pre-flight swabbing, things like that? What do you suggest?
I think these are very relative questions, very important. I think, to travel safely, you have to protect yourself first.
Right.
Okay, vaccination is very important. If you can get a booster, it's very important. Social distancing, there is also, and wearing masks is very important.
Do we have to wear like N95 masks or even put in the full PPE as you read in some of the photographs?
I tell you what, a lot of people have misunderstanding in the aircraft. Actually, in the aircraft is the most safest place in the aircraft because the air system in the aircraft, okay, it very clearly it can kill about 99.7% of the particles. And plus also airflow in the aircraft is every 3 minutes. There's a chain of airflow. So you hardly hear any people infected in the aircraft.
Okay.
But the trouble is where people infected is no social distancing, do not wear masks, and do not take the vaccinations.
Yeah, but how about those flights when they're quite full now, as I've been told by my friends? You have someone sitting right next to you. You don't have the 1.5 meters. Are you worried on the plane?
Oh, I think as long as if you wear a mask and you're vaccinated, I think your chances to catch COVID is very minimum.
Right. And do you suggest people to eat or drink on the plane?
Well, if you're long flight, you have no choice, but you have to be very cautious what you are eating. Don't expose your food, okay, in the air for too long. But obviously, it's much better you have packaged food. And make sure the airline itself has a sort of safety program to take care of you. Right. So you have to do a lot of research, which airline and which airport is a better one.
Right. Mr. Song, since you're here, because I always look after myself and the viewers, because as a lounge operator, before you just told us what's happening with the air travel, in a lounge where a lot of people see it's very much like a cabin, there's enclosed space, but there are fewer people in there compared to the outside.
Yes.
Is it safer to go to the lounge, just to make sure you have the minimal exposure?
In fact, after COVID, we make a research. We send out a questionnaire to our most frequent travelers. We have sent out about 1,000 over frequent travelers. Ask them what do they want and what are they expecting after COVID-19 when they resume traveling. You will be very surprised. Lounge is the best, it's the first choice.
Okay.
Because they say lounge is a place is safe and they don't want to mingle in the public area. So it looks like we have a lot of opportunity in here where we can keep people safe. Always say we ourselves have to do a lot of program to make sure what you service, what you deliver is safe and hygiene.
Right, Mr. Song, sorry I have to cut you off here. We'll go to a break and don't go away. Welcome back. We have been talking with Mr. Song Haisi about the current state of international travel globally and whether air travel is safe. So, Mr. Song, after the first break, I'm sure the viewers are very happy now that air travel, in your opinion, is actually fairly safe as long as you have your vaccinations, the best with the booster dose, and observe social distancing and also personal hygiene. Exactly. So let's talk about, I'm sure the viewers and I are very interested to know that over the last 2 years, internationally, as you said, the worldwide travel population has dropped significantly. How does businesses, I mean, we know the airlines are suffering. How does all these travel-related business like yourself, how do they cope? I mean, have you seen many closures or, I mean, what is your observation?
In the aviation industry in 2020, the aviation industry, including airline, airport, and the supply chain, they lost about $500 billion in revenue. It's a huge impact on them. But obviously, a lot of airports need a lot of support from government or borrow money to sustain the business. Airline, I'm sure you hear a lot of airlines get into troubles or bankrupts because there's not enough traffic to maintain. The econometric doesn't work for them. So they have to change. There is a huge structural change in the airline. And also they have to fall off a lot of the passengers. And when you say structural change, they will concentrate in more variable costs. Okay? And that's why they outsource a lot of activities in order to survive. To contain the cost is very, very important. So in other words, a lot of businesses have to act in a very new way to face the challenges. I read in your business, quite the contrary, you have been, I would say, expanding in quite an aggressive manner in the midst of COVID. And what is your rationale, where everyone is sort of trying to cut the costs and contain the damages, but you are expanding? What is your rationale? And how did you do it? And why did you do it? The premises for me to do this expansion is that I believe there's a plane in the air. It's a matter of time. So sustainability is very, very important. So what we do, actually, we take this opportunity to raise the war chest, to take over a lot of airlines services where we can help them to repurpose their lounges, or we do merger and acquisitions for all those operators who have problems. And this is a window opportunity for us to expand our network. Why we can do that? Because we have been in the business for 23 years. Always see our reputations have been very, very good in the markets, and people, airline trusted us to do the good services for them. So, and plus also, after 23 years, we have demand side of the business. So that's the reason it's a window opportunity for us to expand our network. Because in this business, network is very important. So when we expand our network, it grows from strength to strength. And that's the reason we expand in 5 continents. Before the COVID, we only have about 160 outlets. Now, in these 18 months, we have moved to 250 over outlets in 30 countries.
So nearly over 50%.
Nearly 50%. How we do it? Because we do a lot of merger acquisition, we do a strategic partnerships in the markets.
I believe your businesses has, I mean, it's not just a lounge business. I was reading up before we interview you today. You have like 5 core businesses and over 5,000 employees, and there's over 250 locations. Are you confident that will continue to grow, or you think it's going to be a tough time ahead?
Well, in 1998, we started as a lounge operator. Obviously, we move our business vertically. We manage airline lounges as well, or we provide services to airline lounges. Then we move horizontally to meet and greet services, hotel, airport dining. Okay, then we are doing a provide solution for the airport. So we are perceived in the market as an airport service, airport hospitality service provider and solution. So we invest last 20 months, we invest about $20 million to transform our technology. We invest a lot in digital technology in order to provide good quality and efficient services in the airport.
I'm sure the viewers are going to think, why is Eugene going to ask the song so much about the personal business? There's a reason for that, because I also know that your first lounge was opened in the Hong Kong Changi Airport when it was opened in 1998. So in effect, you are a Hong Kong company.
Oh, you're right, Eugene. In fact, we have been in the business for 23 years. It's said that, a lot of people doesn't know that Plaza Premium Group is a Hong Kong brand, and we founded in Hong Kong, and we are able to spread over the 5 continents in the world now. You tell me, I give you 10 fingers. You tell me how many Hong Kong companies can spread, from Hong Kong to the other part of the world. We flourish. In fact, I want Hong Kong people, when you walk through the airport, when you see Plaza Premium Group, I want you to feel proud that this is Hong Kong brand.
Right. So viewers, I'm not going to promote his brand, but I want to say that our Hong Kong companies, we can do it. We can go globally and internationally should the right criteria are there. You also mentioned to me, and before we start the show, that Hong Kong is a land opportunity. Do we still think in the years to come, do we still have that much opportunity compared to 23 years ago?
Definitely, we have oceans of opportunity in Hong Kong. The reason why I say that, because Hong Kong, like for me, myself, I came to Hong Kong with empty-handed as an employee. Now I can flourish the company throughout the world. Why Hong Kong provide me this opportunity and give me a platform? And you look at, if you watch properly in the 14th 5-year plan, mainland China gazette Hong Kong as an aviation hub. If you have not been to the airport for the last 20 months, if you now go back to airport, Hong Kong International Airport, I'm sure you cannot recognize how the airport looked like. Huge transformation. Other than the 3rd runway that we are building now, we have a new terminal, we extend tremendously, and they're going to become an airport city in the Hong Kong International. Obviously, with the connectivity that we have, it creates a lot of opportunity. What's more, Greater Bay Area that we have is a huge opportunity to create. I wish all the Hong Kong, especially youngsters, have a good look at the Greater Bay Area. They'll give you a vast opportunity in Hong Kong.
Mr. Song, you just mentioned basically Hong Kong's way forward is with the 14th 5-year plan, especially with the Greater Bay Area. So what would you say to our young people who are watching the show tonight? I mean, you had your opportunity that you grasped 23 years ago. what will you say to them?
If people ask me if I give you a selfish answer, I say thank you very much. You give me a lot of opportunity. But to me, I think Hong Kong people should enjoy it and take advantage of this opportunity that mainland China has given to Hong Kong. And I will encourage all the youngsters in Hong Kong to look at these opportunities. Unbelievable, unprecedented opportunity given to you, because I don't think you can get it in other countries.
Yes, Mr. Song, on the last part of the show, I'm going to ask you a personal question that I didn't ask you to tell you beforehand. You, as you've mentioned, you came to Hong Kong 20 odd years ago from Malaysia, so you are Malaysian. And you know that in the recent months, when we read the newspapers, a lot of Hong Kong people are leaving, some of the expatriate people leaving, up to 100,000 people and families are leaving because of the national security law and all the things that were in the news. Would you leave yourself?
It's very good questions, because like I said, if I give you a selfish answer, I will say thank you very much for when they are leaving, because you give us more opportunity in here. Although we are not citizens in Hong Kong, we give us more opportunity. But this is not the answer I want to give you, but it's only thing I feel sad that these people do not see the opportunity that Hong Kong and mainland China create for them. And they have to be patient. You to transform the countries, okay, it's not an overnight thing. And China had sort of committed to make Hong Kong a prosperous city. It is so much opportunity given to us, but don't go away. Come back to build Hong Kong. I think Hong Kong will be a great city to live in and very interesting to live in.
Do you have any worry about our rule of law or even freedom of speech or democracy in Hong Kong?
I've been here for 40 years already, and I do not see my freedoms being restricted. I can say anything I want, and even I can comment on the government policy. I have no problem at all in here. But I feel that this is composable. Everybody have their own opinion. But like for me, I create this opportunity. I found this opportunity through my personal bad experience. And I tell you what, if I go to other countries, I may not have this kind of opportunity.
Okay.
Even my own bad experience, I can create a business where it can flourish around the world.
Okay.
It's not an easy thing, and I must thank you, Hong Kong, for giving me this opportunity.
Right. Thank you, Mr. Song, for coming to share your first-hand experience on the latest news on air travel. I'm sure many of our viewers are looking forward to international travel resuming. I must say I'm really inspired by your commitment to Hong Kong and how you have faced the challenges successfully with optimism and determination. Thank you all for joining us. Have a good week and good night.
Thank you.